Oh, hi there. Today I'm going to talk about how the Queen is ill. Mainstream media on the television has described it as having a heavy cold. I don't know what's to become of her, and I have mixed thoughts and opinions on the status of the Queen. She's an important person, and her death will bring sadness to a great many people. I don't wish her ill harm or anything like that, and I'll get into that in a few minutes. One thing I did want to talk about is the fact that she's 90 years old. She is going to pass away at some point. She may have the best medical team that money can buy and the power to live a very comfortable life, but 90 years is getting around about that time when 99.9% of people who are that old start to die. I don't wish her harm, and I don't wish her to die or anything like that. For me, other than seeing her on the television or seeing Facebook bad rapper, one of the common themes is that she stole a bunch of gold from Africa, and they're always criticizing her about that. But one theory on the Facebook that's not so common, it may have been at one point, but in recent years, whenever they talk about the Queen, they're quite often referring to the Rothschilds or Soros or any of those rich Bilderberg group type individuals, and that's how she's evil. The thing is, when you gain the type of position that she's in society, you make enemies, and sometimes you have to do things that other people couldn't comprehend. They wouldn't understand, and you can't explain it to them. One of the things I do believe that she had a hand to play in was the assassination of Princess Diana. They couldn't have Princess Diana marry Dodi Fayed. That couldn't happen. He may be a rich, powerful Egyptian who owns this. He owned a football team, or his father did. But he was it's quite simply to put it, it is racist, but he was just too dark to marry Princess Diana. That was not going to sit well. And okay, supposedly it was more to do with Prince Philip bumping her off and him, but the Queen outranks Prince Philip. If she didn't want it happening, it wouldn't have happened. And the royal family is guarded by ex-SAS guys, and they're the kind of guys that can and will do anything. It probably didn't even take much from Prince Philip. He probably just went, yep. And the ex-SAS guy was probably like, I get you. That's probably all it was. Just a nod, a wink, a nudge, and that was all it took for them to understand each other and what exactly needed to go on there. Well, when I said needed, unfortunately, in the real world, and this is something people have to wake up to, is that people get assassinated on a regular basis. Usually it's not so high profile. Usually it's people you never heard of, politicians, billionaires, people who lurk in the shadows, who hide behind closed doors in boardroom meetings and things like that. But occasionally, or not that often, but every now and then, it'll be someone who is in the public spotlight that, that's it, the powers that be have decided that they can't live anymore. As everyone knows, the crash that Princess Diana was in was blamed on the driver, but I don't think it was his fault. I think the decision was made to have them removed, and that was just the easiest way to do it. And then turn around and blame the poor driver. I mean, that happened in Paris over 15 years ago. But it's still a conspiracy, and not one widely talked about on Facebook. It's like they keep beating the dead horse over the 9/11 Twin Towers, and how that's fake and all the numerous reasons why they think it's fake and all this and that. But there are other things. It's like, why did you forget? Why are you not bringing it up? Or it's like you got the memory of an elephant when it comes to one thing, and then other things, a lot of other things, you turn a blind eye and you don't want to hear any more about it. Because the thing is, Facebook is run by mainstream media. Anything that goes on there, anything that goes viral especially, anything that gets popular, only gets that way if it's deemed necessary for it to be. And you may watch some viral videos or things like that, and they seem stupid to you, but that's why they're picked. They're picked because they are stupid, because they're pointless, because you don't learn anything from watching them. When it comes to important stuff, like why someone was assassinated, it's hush-hush. No one wants to talk about it, unless it goes along with the mainstream media. Like, anybody can join Facebook, and immediately they'll get bombarded with the same propaganda messages over and over and over again. And this has been going on for years and years and years and years. And that's basically all you can learn about a particular subject. And you can't even learn 25% of it, because they just don't teach that on Facebook. They don't want you to learn anything. In a way, that's good, because they don't want you to pick up your information from people you can't trust and get in-depth, twisted logic on things, because there are very intricate subjects to talk about, and they can just go into all kinds of crazy directions, and you need a simplistic, dumbed-down version, almost to the point where it's irritating to even look at it, because it feels like a brain drain. It feels like it's rotting your brain. But I can see that kind of being useful. But I think if you prove yourself to be an intellectual, and you yearn to learn more about the world and things like that, I think you should be able to get promoted and broaden your knowledge bases. But at this time, you could be the smartest guy in the world and know all about a certain subject, but if people don't want to talk about it, no one's going to talk to you about it. And that's in case with this whole the Queen dying thing. Well, she may not be dying. She's sick, but she's at that age where a bad cold is really bad news for them. And if this doesn't get her, something else will. And when it does, A, it's going to be a national day of mourning. B, it's going to be remembered every year. And C, it's going to be on the news for like a month. She's one woman. And she's done bad things. Maybe overall she's been a really good person and all that. But I could totally see with the kind of power she has that inherently she has to be kind of evil. So I mean, there are plenty of good old women who do die, who never harmed a fly, and are unheard of. But the Queen, who is an old woman, and most certainly has done bad things, whether it's her ordering XSAS guys to do things, or having knowledge of events that are going to happen and doing nothing, or whatever. You know, we don't know these sort of things because the media and what we hear about these types of people is so vague and so stupid that there's no way of building a constructive opinion about them. We just don't know. But I'll tell you what, a week from now, I wouldn't be surprised if she passed on. If that happens, hopefully she just passes in her sleep and it's nice, quick, and quietly. I don't know if that's going to happen. She may make a total recovery, but like I said, she's 90 years old. If something's going to get her. And she should be really grateful that she's lived as long as she has, because there are a lot of people, most people don't live till they're 90. I know this is a bit of a morbid subject and people don't really enjoy talking about it. I don't either, but I feel as though that certain aspects of information need to be discussed more thoroughly. If you're a regular watcher of television news like CBC, or you go on the internet to read up on stories. Most of them are going to be bogus. Most of them are going to be inaccurate and fraudulent. But it's important to have different opinions and just see things from a different perspective. And I don't think that's encouraged enough in our society. In fact, in many cases, I've voiced my opinions and met with total discouragement. Like, really, there are people out there who are no better than the Japanese were in Korea when the Koreans tried to speak their own language and the Japanese derided their food, derided their language. And people, okay, they're not stabbing people with bayonets and things like that, but they still do that. As I've said before in other videos, intolerance hasn't gone away. It's just shifted. Prejudice, all that sort of stuff, hasn't gone away. It's just shifted. It's different than it was before. It's still there. So anyway, this Dodi Fadi guy, worth billions of dollars, he gets bumped off, and that sends a serious message to the Arab world that no, you can't marry into the royal family. You just can't do it. You're too dark. It's as simple as that. People go, hey man, that's racist, but you want to, that is the honest to God truth. She was messing around and she shouldn't have done it. It was a bad move on both of their parts. You can't honestly think that you can get around with screwing around with the royal family and just, that's it. It doesn't matter how much money you're worth or how much influence you have. If you're screwing around where you're not supposed to be screwing around, you're asking for trouble. And why I bring her up when I was supposed to be talking about the Queen is that I think the Queen had a full hand in what happened. She most certainly had a knowledge of it and didn't do anything about it. Again, this is one of these things not well talked about on the internet. It is a really old story, but I'm sick of the same old stories on the internet and on the news and all that sort of stuff. It's either something that you know, just happened where it's there was some more terrorism in Turkey. There was a downed Russian plane that fell in over the Black Sea or something like that not too long ago, and all that sort of stuff. But that'll hang around for like a week or two, and then it'll be done with. But the stories that keep coming back over and over again are the same ones over and over again. If you're going to rehash stories, if you're going to keep telling them over and over again, at least tell a lot more than the ones you do. Because they only pick a handful of them and just go, alright, we're going to keep talking about this over and over again. To the point where anybody watching it with any kind of modicum of a brain is going to get irritated very quickly. Like me. I can't stand any form of media. And those people who go, yeah man, mainstream media, it's all done and over with now. It's all on the internet, it's free speech, blah blah blah. I'm like, we have free speech, that's true. You can say what you want, and you're not going to go on a show trial from Stalin or a Stalin type figure, but your voice isn't going to get heard. Nobody's going to listen to you. Is it really free speech if you have something intelligent to say, something interesting, but nobody's going to listen to you anyway because they're going to put you in some quiet corner and nobody even know you exist? So you may think, wow, this is great, I can say whatever I want and get away with it, blah 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 blah. But if you're just in some corner and no one can hear you, or no one who cares can hear you, then you're no better off. So I have things to critique. And I have some of my opinions are a little more harsh than others, but I like to deal in facts. And I don't mean on Wikipedia or the online dictionary facts. I mean, like, this is how it really is. This is the lowdown of what really is going on. I try to get my information. A lot of it I can't prove, but if you think from a logical perspective, then it all starts to make sense. So anyway, my point is, a lot of people are going to act surprised when the Queen finally does die, but they shouldn't. She's very old, not in the greatest of health right now, When it happens, it happens. And I'm not going to feel any more sorry for her than I would some other old woman who I don't even know, and you know, was harmless as a fly her whole life. Like, why should I feel more sorry for the Queen because I know what her face looks like when she's lived a life of luxury, of power, she's done bad things, as opposed to a woman who I don't know what she looks like, never heard her name, never gonna meet her because she lives in some other part of the world, a lot of old women. Why should I feel worse for the Queen than I would for someone like them? I don't know the Queen any better than I know them. So why should I feel worse for the Queen dying, if she does, when she does, than all those other old women in the world who I'll never know, never meet, and never know their names? So that's a bit of it's a kind of a morbid video, but I'm just trying to speak from a realistic perspective. If I were to suddenly croak and somebody made a video of this caliber against or for me, whatever, it wouldn't offend me. You know, I wouldn't, because I'd be dead. I wouldn't care. And that should be the same for anybody. You focus on yourself, and whatever someone else's image of you is, it don't matter, because their image of you is a reflection of themselves, whether they want it to be or not. Okay, there are instances where there are particularly vicious people. Let's try to think of one offhand. Okay, let's say Charlie Manson. You can have a constructive opinion about him, you can know some things about him through research, and there's no association between you and him other than you know of him and know stuff about him. That's fine. Yeah, so anyway, the major point to this video was the Queen is gonna die, and don't act surprised when it happens. May not be tomorrow, might be next week, might be a couple years down the road, but it's gonna happen. Happens to everyone. And you want to turn around and go, oh, I'm surprised, I didn't know this was gonna happen, my whole world's collapsing. Then yeah, you need to be slapped silly, because you're in denial and you're ignorant about the facts of life. And honest to God, we can't have people running around that stupid. So, yeah, I'm starting to lose interest in this video. I've made the effort of making it, so I will upload it. But I think I'm going to end it about here. Yeah, if you want to hit subscribe, you can. You don't have to, whatever. Anyway, good day.